the motion that we reconvene to open session.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. And we are in open session again. We had a session this afternoon at 4 o'clock. As you're probably well aware, Dr. Stone announced his retirement back in September. So we're in the process, and we spent the last hour and 30 minutes or so going over the process and getting the ball rolling in that regard. So we are back in session and certainly want to welcome you here. And we're approaching the Christmas season here, so I think I speak for all the board that we want to wish each of you a very Merry Christmas. That you have a good time with family and friends during that time. And I know a good many of us had the opportunity to go over to Highbright this afternoon and celebrate with them as the football team won the state championship. It is the first football state championship in Caldwell County. So we are very, very proud of them. It's a wonderful group of young men, fantastic coaching staff over there, and they have worked hard for a long time, and certainly all season, and has made us very, very proud. So we're going to continue on. I want to ask fellow board member, Mrs. Dottie Darcy, to do the invocation for the board.
I'd like us to pause for a moment to remember why we celebrate this season and to ask blessings on all the students and staff who will be away from our schools for the next couple of weeks, that they will all have a safe and happy holiday and return to school ready to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Darcy. Next item on the agenda, we have two students from Lower Creek Elementary School. We have the Student Council President, Parker Boggs, and Student Council Vice President, Emma Hills. So if everyone will please stand for the pledge.
States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, girl.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Parker, for being here. Item on the agenda, approval of the agenda, which the board's had opportunity to review. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, we need to amend the agenda to delete item 10A1, the audit report. The auditors have not had that cleared by the local government commission. That will come back to us in January. To delete item 10A1.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve?
Mr. Chair, also on the agenda that we got on Tuesday, there was a 10B2 about superintendent search cost resolution. Was that not on here as an oversight?
No, we're going to.
January. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Next item is on November the 6th, 2017, we had a regular board meeting, and the board has had an opportunity to review the minutes of that meeting. Do I hear a motion that we approve the minutes of the November 6th board meeting? Is there a second? And a second? Any comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Dr. Stone, you
Yes, as of 4:30, we've not received any requests for public comment, but I do want to speak to the public. I know over the last 2 weeks, we've had a pretty rough time with some accusations and some some charges with a former teacher or 2 former teachers in Caldwell County. And looking back on it, there's probably some things that we need to review and process and to look at policies and procedures. So I know there's a lot of people who are upset with us, a lot of people who are angry, who feel like that we didn't take this seriously. And so I want to promise to our community that we will look at what happened, if something needs to be put in there to keep it from happening again. But that's my commitment to you, and I do apologize for the angst and the concerns that we have in the community. But I promise you that will not happen again, and we will review that. We'll be talking with our board attorney, we'll be talking with the school board's attorney and others to make sure that we have something in place that would catch something like that in the future. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Stone. As Dr. Stone indicated, we had no sign up for public comment as of 4:30 this afternoon. Yes. Sure. You can come to the mic. Destin is our board attorney. You want to?
I can promise you that we're going to address it. And circumstances may be different from 2 years ago to this one. I'd have to go back and look at the one that you're referencing. But my promise to everyone here is that we will fix this problem. Thank you, sir. Can you tell us your name? I'm sorry, I didn't. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. The safety of our students is paramount to each of us. We're going to move on with the announcements. December 18th through January 1st is holiday break. Students will be getting out early on Friday, the 15th, this coming Friday. They'll be released in and about lunchtime on that day. Our next board meeting will be on January 8th, and that will be here in the boardroom, and that will be at 6 o'clock. So those are the announcements unless somebody on the board has anything else. Next is honors and recognitions. The board's going to move down, and we're going to recognize a couple people here as well. I want to call on Libby Brown, our Community Relations Director.
Good evening, Chairman Pennell, board members, Dr. Stone. It is our privilege tonight to recognize 2 high schools in the Caldwell County Schools that have been recognized by the North Carolina State Superintendent for their achievements in posting the 2 highest graduation rates in the county and throughout North Carolina. Congratulations to the Early College High School for a graduation rate of 98.8%, just a little bit shy of 100. And the Caldwell Career Center Middle College achieved a graduation rate of 100%. So we have a 100 team member here. And we have congratulations to Principal Candace Hageman, Early College, and Brian Sudreth of the Middle College. So we're very proud of all that level of achievement and getting your parents and students and faculty and staff working together. So congratulations.
Go on in the middle. Picture.
Thank you, and happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is our superintendent's report.
Mr. Chairman, item 10B1 is Board Policy 2670. You've had that for a month. We have had that out for 1 month comment period. We've had no comments, so we'd like to recommend approval of Board Policy 2670, which basically requires the establishment of a business advisory council. Also attached to this, you have the preliminary 9 appointments to this council. 4 of the 9 are mandated by state. 4 of those are required to be certain position, and the other 5 have to be from the business community. Libby did a great job of going out in the community and looking for business partners and others to be a part of our team. So we also have their year service, their year term. So we'd like to recommend approval of Board Policy 2670 and the appointment of the committee for the council.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Board Policy 2670 plus the individuals as listed on that committee.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Anybody have any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Stone. This time, I'd like to call on Associate Superintendent for Human Resource Services, Dr. Trish Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Stone, I have 3 items for your attention this evening, beginning with Exhibit 4. Exhibit 4 includes usual and customary personnel items presented for your information, but requiring no action. Exhibit 5 includes usual and customary personnel items presented, requiring action. I respectfully recommend approval of these items as they have been presented to you.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the usual and customary personnel matters that have been presented by Dr. Johnson?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the usual and customary personnel items as specified by Dr. Johnson.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And finally, Exhibit 6. Exhibit 6 includes student transfer requests received since your last board meeting. Since your last board meeting, there were 10 requests for student transfers received. Of the 10 received, 10 are recommended for approval. If approved this evening, that brings the total board approval for transfers for the 2017-18 school year to 603. I respectfully recommend approval of the student transfers as they have been presented.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve the December 2017 student transfers as presented.
Second the motion.
Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Johnson. Next, we have Associate Superintendent for Educational Program Services, Dr. Carol Burns.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Stone, I have for you this evening the school improvement plans for the 26 schools, and you've already been introduced to those in your first visits out to the schools. These are required yearly by state law. Last year, we started a new process that you're well aware of. We're using NC STAR to put all of this information in, which is good for us because we're able to monitor what the schools are doing. They are to, last year we had them to evaluate what are called the 12 key indicators. There are 105 of those indicators in NC STAR, so we don't anticipate anybody getting to 105, but they had to do 12 and to use 2 as their goals. This year they were required to do 3 indicators, and the schools in improvement had to do 4 according to state law. Next year, they'll all be doing, we think, 4. But what you're seeing is what we call the synopsis. There's a tremendous amount of information behind this in NC Star. They have to put their agendas, and they have to put all of the work that they're doing and what they do toward these SMART goals. And hopefully, if they achieve one, they are to pick another one and keep going from there. So I think we've been able to work with principals to understand that school improvement is a continuous process. It never stops, and there is no end to it, that you always have to be improving. This is the mechanism by where we're doing this. They're doing, we believe, very well. The directors are putting coaching comments in there, which you're not able to see at this point, so they're being coached while they go through this process. We think it's a good one. We believe they're making great gains through this, and Dr. Whiting gave to me. They've done an analysis of all of those. I'm going to show them, Lisa, they can't see it, but they'll understand where those particular goals are. We thought it was quite interesting that they grouped themselves. If you see where I have blue on this paper, they picked similar goals, and I was pretty proud of what they picked, because most of it, almost all of it, had to do with curriculum. And Dr. Stone didn't even grin, because, see, we're a little biased as to what we think will improve the school system, is to improve the instructional program. I thought you might see there's some outliers out there, but they grouped themselves when they picked what they wanted to do. So we think that's a good indicator of what is going on. I respectfully request that you approve the school improvement plans as submitted by the 26 schools.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the school improvement plans for 2017, 2018 as they have been presented and as you've had opportunity to review?
Chairman Pennell, I recommend that we approve the 2017-18 school improvement plans as presented by Dr. Burns, and I hope they all achieve everything they promised.
Oh, we do too.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions of Dr. Burns? We know there's a lot of work that goes into this
Yes,
by a lot of people.
continuously.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Burns. Next, we have Associate Superintendent for Auxiliary Services, Dr. Jeff Church.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Stone. You have before you Exhibit 8, and that was placed at your table. A request for property acquisition adjacent to West Caldwell High School. That's going to come from our Facilities Committee, so I'll turn that over to Ms. Darcy.
Okay. The Facilities Committee met and looked at the opportunity we have to purchase some land adjacent to West Caldwell High School, which could be used for another egress from the school. One of the issues that we have looked at for a long time, we always want to have more than one way in and out of a school, just in case of an emergency of some sort. And we have an opportunity to purchase some land from Mr. A.P. Anderson, and this land would give us the opportunity to put another road in and out of West Caldwell High School, which we figure would be a great benefit to the school and the community. When we purchase land, it does have to be approved by the county commission. And last Monday, Dr. Church presented this to the county commissioners, and they did approve this land purchase. So the Facilities Committee would like to recommend to the board that we purchase this piece of land adjacent to West Caldwell High School.
So, having come from a committee, the Facilities Committee, it's not necessary to to have a motion or a second. Any comments or any questions?
Well, originally there was an issue about a timber thing, but, we'll
We've
just tell
since
everybody.
been talking, and that's off the table. We're retaining all the timber rights,
Okay.
the school
Okay,
system.
I just have one question. Dr. Church and I have discussed it, but I just want to make it clear. To access this property, you go Beecher Anderson Road to Huffman Road to Porch Place. And according to Caldwell County GIS, Porch Place dead ends at a property owned by Glenn and Martha Perlier. And I just want to make sure we have a right-of-way to get across their property to access ours.
Yeah, we will make sure of that. I visited out there, and the GIS is not showing the road, because the road comes through, there's actually a gate at the end of the property that spills out onto Porch Place. But we will double-check that before we close,
Well,
just to
and we-
make
and
sure.
If it is crossing somebody else's property, we need to know how big of a right of way we have.
Correct.
And if it's a 20-foot, a 30-foot, or a 60-foot, because I'm not sure what the rules are, but I know at 20 or 30, it was not gonna suffice for a school.
Yeah, and looking at GIS, it looks like they just left the road out, and it's picking up the property on the other side of the road. So but we will double-check before we.
And we
before
actually
do
walked
that.
the property, and our property, I mean, the piece that we're trying to buy does dump right there on that,
It comes right out.
on a
on the-
paved road.
Mhm.
That road ends, it curves right there and ends just below where the gate is, doesn't it?
It does, yes, sir.
So
And the
it's-
primary purpose is safety, to have that second entrance exit in
Mhm.
case of emergency, not just to buy more land to buy. one.
Correct.
Oh,
No,
no.
Correct.
also, we could use it if we needed extra space at West
Yeah.
Calvary.
Right.
I have no problem voting as long as we know that right of way issue before we sign.
We
on
we
there.
will verify that before we sign, but for sure.
If it's landlocked and we can't get to it, it's
Some no use.
To make it.
it's
Correct.
more
Right.
land than we own.
Right. No, but we will verify that.
So maybe the motion needs to be contingent upon verification of right-of-way or
Okay.
easement.
Okay.
Okay, so does everybody understand what we're voting on now? It has come from the Facilities Committee to purchase this property. Remind us what acreage is?
It's 35.42 acres.
Okay.
And
And it is contingent on your finding that out.
Correct.
Any more questions about it? Or comments about it? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion
Okay,
passes.
thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Stone, any
Just
additional announcements?
very quickly, just to announce that tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, we will be meeting in Granite Falls Middle School for kind of a community sharing, where we'll be talking about the new Granite Falls Middle School project, bringing the community up to speed. The architects will be there. We've invited the county commissioners, the Board of Education, as well as the town of Granite Falls. It'll be a very, mostly driven by the architects to show the new plan, some welcome greetings from you, Darrell, and from me, and from other officials. But basically, it's just to kind of bring the community up to speed with the new plan for Granite Falls Middle. So 6, hopefully by 7, but you all are invited to that. Also, like you all mentioned earlier, we're extremely proud of the High Brighton Panthers, 51 years in existence as a school. The first time we've had a team championship for very, very well done. Had a chance to go to the game on Saturday, and even though it snowed all the time, the Panthers, you would be so impressed with the boys. They were such good sportsmen. They played, they gave it their all. So not only is High Brighton known for its sportsmanship, but also for its great academic program. So, also the last thing is the school district celebrates Christmas starting on Friday. That is an early release day for us on the 15th. Students are released around noon. Staff are released soon thereafter. Principals have to stay until all the buses make it home. And because last Friday was a snow day, we originally had called a 1:30 dismissal time, but the storm moved in a lot quicker. It was accumulating a lot quicker, so we made that call to dismiss at noon. You may have gotten some calls about that, but we just could not wait to 1:30 with the way the roads were going. So, and this morning we made the call because there were still some spots that were patchy, and I think the temperature was down to 22. So, it is too early for snow. So those of you who have snow signs, or Kathy, I love snow stuff, you have to get rid of them. But we hope to finish out this week. The weather looks good, and then have a 2-week Christmas break.
Dr.
Mhm.
If I may do so. One of the things that I noticed during the process of the wonderful things that happens in our life was how much class our other high schools showed. And the work that they did to cheer on High Brighton. And actually, a friend of mine stopped me and said, "Have you seen the marquee at West Colvin High School?" And then she told me exactly what it said. That came from a friend. And the things that they did throughout this county in kindness to the high school, if the big group was a significant loss. And I just think it takes a lot of class to convince capacity from all of their administrators. And I think that's it makes me so proud for all of us for what these principals and students and teachers throughout the county have demonstrated.
Thank you. I'll make sure they know it. It was classy.
It was classic.
Very much. And, correct me if I'm not wrong, Dwayne, but I believe the Panthers at High Brighton have beaten 3 Panther teams in the last
In the
4
playoffs.
games.
That's right.
They played
Patton
Patton twice, and Franklin, and then East Duplin. All 4 were Panther teams, so it was Panthers against Panthers on Saturday, and the Panthers won, but they were our parent.
And
our
they also
Panthers.
beat Shelby, 4th-time defending state champion.
Yeah, I tell you, very, very proud of that class act out there, from the coaches to every member of the team. It was just a wonderful season, and it's a big day that all of us will remember. And those students, you can imagine, it's going to be so much on their minds for the rest of their lives, and those players will be talking about it. Isn't that right, Joe? You played on a team that went to the state championship game. It's a special day indeed. Okay, we'll move on with the agenda. And recently, we had opportunity, many of us had opportunity to attend the State School Boards Association meeting conference in Greensboro, and a number have had the opportunity to go to a number of general sessions as well as breakout sessions. So we're going to go in the order as listed here. Dottie, do you want to give some information about what you picked up?
Okay. Actually, the afternoon before the conference started, I had the opportunity to go to a workshop on poverty. And it was a very interesting, interactive workshop, and what they did was had us divide into 3 groups, and we sort of drew numbers, counted off, and to see which group we would be in. We were either in a poor household, a middle-class household, or a wealthy household. And so what they gave us a series of questions to answer about what the house looked like, what was in the refrigerator, what kinds of activities we did, what kinds of work people did. And then after each group had done this, we shared. And it was a very interesting activity to see the different levels at which people found themselves in these 3 different situations. And so it was, as I say, a very interesting and interactive activity that they did there. Another thing that I went to that I found especially interesting was a program from Onslow County, and they are actually what's called a North Carolina Global Ready District. And they actually have a magnet elementary school that is called Global Ready, but their entire district has worked, and they gave us the whole rubric to do this, should we decide that we want to do the same thing, that today's world is changing, and we not only need to prepare students for life in our community, our state, our country, but many, many of our students are going to have opportunities and options for work on a global level or through a global network. And what this program does is it exposes the young people to many different opportunities and options to explore work and opportunities around the world and differences in culture and so forth. And it was really quite an interesting session and something that at some point we may want to consider further.
Okay, thank you. Dottie, Ann?
Yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm not doing this because Dr. Burns is sitting here, because she's probably heard the whole thing, but I just did love one thing that had to do with advanced ed that I went to, and I know you've probably been exposed to this with Lenore City, and, I'm sorry, Lenore County. And the one I loved the very most was on digital learning. And they gave a wonderful presentation, and Dottie, I believe you were in there with me at this particular one, but they gave a wonderful presentation on how every student is holding a device in their hand in the county so that they can be digital ready. And I know that with Libby sitting here and the people in the CTE classes, having these students pervasive throughout the whole county, that they had that instrument where not just teachers were using the media, but every single child. And their presentation was interesting to me in that they didn't use any additional money, that they took money from Title I, they took money from other ways so that they could do that. And each principal had committed to having a teacher facilitator for digital learning in the school. And it was a teacher. It had to be a classroom teacher. And she went in and gave model lessons and was a co-teacher with all of the teachers in the school. And interestingly enough, their schools did improve. She kept talking about that they were a below-level school and had not done well in the past, and I have not checked out that data. I don't know, I'm sure that, but they were so enthusiastic about that and about how they were going about doing that. So that was my favorite session, and thank you for the opportunity, because I learned so much, and I thought it was just delightful to listen and hear these teachers and this instructional facilitator talk about how they were doing it in Lenore County. And the second thing I heard that I really liked a lot was the virtual high school, and how that is available. And Dr. McNeil, sorry, that was a faux pas, wasn't it?
Hopefully you'll do it later, a couple of years down the road, if you call somebody Dr. Stone.
We'll
on
definitely
that.
do that.
The virtual high school has to do with letting students enroll in our public schools. And I think this is a really wonderful way. He sent me the statistics, is what I'm trying to get out, about how we're already doing that here in our school system. But if we can bridge the gap between people who homeschool and let them come and take classes here with our school through the virtual school and increase that, although we're already doing some of it. But if we could facilitate a meeting with them, to have them come in and have that opportunity to see how much their students could gain, I think it would be another bridge that we could cross. So it was a really, really wonderful opportunity to go and to listen and hear, and I thought it was well done and valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Good report. Glenn?
Okay. I too attended the State School Board Convention. As required, we must obtain 12 hours of continuing education over a 2-year period. So this convention allows us to meet those requirements. My favorite breakout session was also from Onslow County, Dottie. It was called Connecting the Dots to Educating the Whole Child, presented by middle school principal Dr. Helen Gross. She was a principal at a high-flying school in Onslow County, and then they transferred her to a school that was struggling. poverty, and the least achieving school in the county. So over the summer, she surrounded herself with teachers and staff to set forth a plan. And her plan was neuroplasticity, or the ability of the brain to change or adapt to rewire itself through life. Her meeting covered many ways to change the morale of the school and the community. Once, over the summer, the teachers were brought in. She laid out the plan to the teachers, and then the teachers, once again, carried out the plan to the students. So every Tuesday and Thursday, the teachers stayed after school for extra instructional time, along with enrichment time and club time. They tried to make it a social and learning event where the students would want to attend. She said the most difficult thing, though, was transportation, and she received funds through the county to allow buses to take these kids home after school. To keep the excitement ongoing, she had teachers and community leaders take photos of weekly events. She made a video with some energetic music and called it a flipagram. She posted this on social media for everyone to see, and it was successful. So that's off to Dr. Helen Gross of Onslow County.
Thank you, Dwayne. Certainly, they do an excellent job down there each year with the general sessions, as well as the breakout sessions, as y'all have illustrated. Next item on the agenda is the board committee appointment, which is just for board information. You know, you were alerted some time ago about, you know, if you had any preferences, and I think we have, you see that there are a few changes, but there's also a need for some continuity in some of this as well. We have for Associate of the Year, Educator of the Year, Ricky Educator of the Year. We like to kind of share those as much as we can, so that's what we tried to do there as well. So that's the committees for 2018.
Is the CTE committee that Tim and I are on, is that different from that business committee?
It is. That you,
I don't think we've met this year, have we?
I don't know, have you? Libby, the CTE committee
Is
needs
it
to meet.
separate?
It is separate, and I don't think it has met.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is separate.
Then you'll be letting us know so that they can know when that comes
Right.
up.
Because the new committee mandated by the state did not require board members' presence. It's really business folks and school people.
We are school people.
Well, I meant administrative type.
Different school people.
But I can guarantee you the CT committee will be meeting. Wait, how long you want to meet? Every week?
Oh, no.
Any other comments? Do I hear a motion that we go in closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I move we go into closed session to discuss matters pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 A6, based upon the statute 115C-321.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We will be going in closed session. We'll come back out and adjourn. We do not expect any action whatsoever when we come out. Thank you for being here. Merry Christmas to everyone. Have a great holiday season.
Trish, if you would join us in close.